All right. So if you see the YouTube screen, my actual Mac desktop, if you could post in the chat that you do see my desktop, that would be awesome before we get started. All right. Those just connecting. It looks like YouTube just showed up, YouTube live stream. Those of you in the chat already, not the YouTube chat, but the chat on the homepage, which is the tik.io link on number three. If you'll click on that, enter your full name on that number three, join live chat link. I've got a few users in there already. That's the chat module we're going to use tonight instead of the YouTube live chat. It's just easier for me to navigate it than the YouTube live chat. So you should see my screen now. Hopefully, those of you that are in the chat module, if you could type in there that you do see my Mac desktop, that would be awesome. Looks like there's 10 connected users on YouTube live. So those that are connected, please go to the Web225 RVC Eagle homepage and click on the live chat link where it says join live chat. When it asks you for entering information, enter your name. And Tambrin, you're not going to see me if you don't. Make sure you're clicked on that YouTube live link in number. It's actually going to be in week 4 module. The top YouTube link should bring you to the place you need to be. It might take a second to show up, but you should see my desktop in a bit. So after you do that, go ahead and come back and let me know that you can see it. Looks like Brittany can. A couple others can as well. So it looks like it is showing up eventually. Those just joining the YouTube live video link, make sure and click on. We're not going to use YouTube live chat tonight. We're going to use another chat module. It's at the top of the site. Gives you the instructions where it says join live chat. You'll click on this link and enter your full name. All right, Tambrin looks like she can see. Alan can see. Good. David, you can see. Great. Awesome. So once everybody posts here in a second, you can see, we'll get started. I'm going to do things a little different with the live chat since we're starting later. And I'll tell you that in just a second what that's going to be. But thanks for joining. I know those that had maybe a class this afternoon or you had to work this afternoon. If you were out earlier this evening, thanks, Jacob. It's pretty icy out there on the roads this afternoon. I was out about an hour and a half ago, and yeah, pretty slick. So hopefully you don't have to go out anymore tonight. It's supposed to be the worst starting now till 4 a.m., 5 a.m. in the morning. So I'm used to this type of weather, by the way. Was raised in southern Missouri, and so we had a lot of ice storms, but not so much here in the Rockford region. So pretty a lot harder to get around in ice than it is snow. So anyway, looks like most everybody can see. Looks like thanks to those who are posting. Alan, Tambrin, David, Jacob, and David, Brittany, and Janice. Thank you. Those just joining, make sure and submit your name in week 4 check-in module. You will go also to the join live chat link and put in your name, full name only. You don't need to put your Twitter or Facebook credentials. Just your full name will work fine. And then just submit hello or I can see your desktop, whatever you want to do. That way you know you're in the chat module. You're not required to use a chat module. It's just if you do have questions, you can definitely post them in there as we go through here. Okay, so I'm going to go and get started. Again, thanks for joining tonight on the online portion of Web 225. Tonight we're going to go over week 4. Thank you, Sophia. We're going to be doing a little different again, like I said, on the live video feed, the live screencast. What I've done is I've taken a podcast I did last semester. Uh, I trimmed it down, got rid of some stuff that is not pertinent to this semester. So I'll go through quickly the content of this week. You'll watch that podcast on your own time. It's around 40 some minutes, I believe. It goes over all the assignments and what to do this week and things like that. And then you can watch it from here, from now till, on your own leisure from now till between now and Sunday, watch the podcast and help you with your take-home assignment. So this week we're going to go ISO in the second podcast you'll view in a second. We'll also talk about in the podcast in-class assignment and your take-home, and then finally a quiz. And I'll quickly go over all these. It goes in more detail on the podcast that's already out there. And let me just show you what podcast I'm talking about. So in the podcast link, there's two podcasts in here. The one you're viewing now, where it says watch below, podcast at 8 p.m. It's this one here. After you watch tonight's live podcast, you'll click on this one, which is podcast number 2, which that's one about a 40-some minute, I believe, roughly around there, trimmed down version from last semester, actually. I taught the class. And you can watch that, after this session. You don't have to do it tonight. If you don't want to, you can, but you don't have to, since we're starting a little later. So again, watching the live one now, which you're viewing now, and then after we're through tonight with this live one that you're watching, you'll watch this one here to go in more detail over this week's content and assignments. So one of the first things in week 4, hopefully you checked in the Kahoot, different as well because of the lag on the live feed. What I've done is, like I've done in my other classes with Kahoot, since we've had so many snow days and canceled days, I've created a challenge. What a challenge is you can play the challenge at any time. You don't have to do it now. You can do it between now and Sunday. You'll open up your Kahoot app on your phone, Android or iOS. If you don't have the app, you can click on these links from your phone to install it. Set up your free account, enter in the PIN, which is your challenge PIN. You'll accept the challenge, take it, and it's over ISO this week. I think it's not many questions, like 4 or 5 questions, I believe. Pretty simple. But you'll see a leaderboard as always, and who did, how you did and all that good stuff. And I'll see the results as well. But it'll be offline. We don't have to all be on the same session. And that seems to work well, especially when you're doing it in an online format like we are this week. Okay. Questions on the Kahoot challenge. I think some of you have already done that already. So the Kahoot challenge, again, is pretty simple. You just fire up your app, put in the PIN, and it only works, by the way, a challenge will only work from your phone. So it has to be iOS or Android phone or tablet with the app installed. No questions on that. Great. Let me make sure. Look at the chat here if there's any questions. All right. Next, let's go over your week 4 notes. You're going to be going over in that second podcast. I'll go in detail over each one of these cards. What these are is these are PDFs you can print out, put in your or save in your phone if you don't want to print it out. And what they are is they're like cheat sheets for different settings on your phone to get different results. And it could be on your phone camera or your point and shoot camera, either one. And so what they are is really good cheat sheets. I go over, the ones I like, the ones I use a lot. And again, you can store it if you don't want to print it out. I keep mine in my Dropbox account. If you don't have a Dropbox account, you can go to dropbox.com and set up a free account, and you get 5 gigs free of storage space, and you can upload these cards. And then these ISO notes go over just ISO notes that I'll go over in that second podcast. Google Photos. Now, some of you already have Google Photos. You're using that for your in-class photo submissions. But if you do not have Google Photos, I need you to sign up this week because I'm going to be doing some group stuff here in a few weeks with it. So if you've already signed up or you haven't signed up, once you sign up, submit done that you've done it. If you have already signed up, submit done because you've already signed up to Google Photos. And really, that's all I need you to do on the in-class this week. Questions on the in-class. And again, if you already have Google Photos, you just have to put done, submit done in the text box when you submit. If you don't have, you'll sign up real quick. And you can use your existing RBC Gmail or create a new Gmail, whatever you want to do. It's up to you. Probably easier just to use your existing RBC Gmail, unless you want to have a personal one. That way it carries on beyond your courses here on campus. All right, no questions on that. Let's go to the next one. The take home this week is built on ISO. Now, last week you did I had ISO and white balance both. This week is ISO only. We go over that in the second podcast in detail on what ISO is and how it works in more detail. So this week you're going to do 10 photo settings, meaning 10 different places you're going to take photos at, whether it be at the mall, your home, your work, outside, at Rock Cut, whatever. So 10 different photo settings, 30 photos. Each photo setting, you're going to take 3 different ISO settings, exactly the same, each 3 exactly the same in succession. So an example, each session, like if you went to Cherryvale Mall, 80, 100, and 300, same ISO. And I also want the camera to be in the same location, taking the same picture of that same photo setting, but you'll just change the ISO 3 times. So we'll say Cherryvale Mall, that's 3. Rock Cut, that's 3. Work, that's 3. You'll do that in 10, all the way up to 10 different places, 10 different photo settings, all 3 ISOs in the increment that, well, it doesn't have to be the 80, 100, 300. It's whatever you did last week. Some of you did 100, 200, 300. Some of you did 80, 100, 120. Whatever the succession is you have in your phone or camera to do that you did last week. Once you've done that, you'll connect your camera to your computer, upload them to your Google Photos or Foki Photos, whatever photo album you're using. You will then label each photo or caption each photo, whichever photo service you're using, with the place, abbreviation for lighting. And so a place would be like Cherryvale Mall. Lighting, we'll look at in a second what that's going to be. And then ISO setting, 80, 100, 300, whatever yours might be. And then you'll save it on your computer as a JPEG. More than likely, that's what your camera is going to import as anyway. So abbreviations for lighting, this refers to when you take a photo in a photo setting at the mall. Inside the mall, you're in the center court, we'll say. We'll say it's indoor bright. Okay, it's actually the natural lighting for that session. So it'd be IB for the abbreviation. If you're outside at say Rock Cut at noon tomorrow, and you're taking pictures out there of the lake or something, that might be bright, might be sunny outside. So that the abbreviation for that would be S. Let's say you're near the evening and it's cloudy and you're taking a photo, it would be C for cloudy. And then indoor dark, maybe inside your house in a dark area, ID for indoor dark. So an example would be for the mall. If you put some photos of the mall, mall IB 20 for indoor, bright 200 for ISO .jpeg. Then when you upload them to the session, yeah, somebody asked a question on lowest ISO. You should start with the lowest ISO you can, and then work your way up. And what I mean, like say if your lowest ISO is 80, you can start with that, and then go to the next one up, and the next one up. So let's say an example, you do 80, 100, 120, whatever. Does that make sense? And you're also asking you start at one that you choose. As long as it's not too high on the lowest. So you don't want to start like 300 or something. So I would say most of your cameras and most of your apps that you use on your phones have at least 100 level, I believe. So I would go any lower than 100 or any higher than 100. I'm sorry. No higher than 100 on your lowest ISO setting. All right, cool. Great. So name of location, lighting, and ISO number. And you'll put that in the label of and the reason I have you label it on your computer when you save it is that way when you upload it, it'll remind you of what that setting was and location was and lighting was. And then you'll finally get all of them uploaded. And then this week you're going to submit the album below as a URL of your actual um photo assignment for ISO photo settings. 30 in total is what you're going to have. 10 photo settings, 3 photos each. Make sense? Cool. All right. Going on. Told you I wouldn't be long tonight. Photo terms. This is a very difficult quiz you're going to be doing next week. No, it's pretty simple. This is the only quiz you're taking the entire semester, by the way, because this is all hands-on class I've designed it to be. You can just get more out of it. And so basically what this is by the way, if you can't see it as I see it on my screen, you can click on this link here and it'll go to full screen mode in Eagle. You're going to study these terms, each one of them. I think it's about 4 pages. I think the last page is blank. Next week, you'll have a quiz about these terms worth a whole 1 point. And so it's more about getting, knowing the knowledge of the definitions and getting points really. So you have time to study this week. Next week, I'll forward fast to show you the quiz, what it looks like. And I believe I've given you 2 opportunities to take it. So the lighting, do you choose the lighting yourself? It's whatever the natural lighting is um, in the room or outdoors. So I want it all to be natural on lighting. I don't want you to choose any flash lighting. Um don't do any flash enabled lighting and don't mess with your white balance, leave it auto, if that makes sense. Yeah, white balance to be auto, definitely. White balance auto. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a preview of this quiz, show you what it looks like. And it's not gonna take you real long to do it. So it's just, the normal, it's a matching type of quiz. You have the definition on the left, you choose which one you think it is on the right. Once you go down and choose all the ones that are in there. And by the way, as you choose each one, um, I'll choose a different one here, so it'll be different. All right. And so once you choose all of your answers, you'll go down and submit it. You'll notice here where it says quiz saved. The way Eagle's supposed to work, if you were to walk away from this during the time you took it, or you had to answer a phone, or God forbid the computer crashed and came back, it should save it at that state. But since I don't have these timed, and you do have 2 opportunities to take it. Um, let's just say they fail twice, and it takes up both of your options, both of your opportunities to take this. Let me know and I can reset it. But if you just give yourself, mute your phone for a bit, give yourself maybe 10 minutes to take it once you went over the reading for this and submit it. You have 2 opportunities to take this highest score out of the 2, which is a whole 1 point anyway. No time limit. Questions on the take home digital photography terms. And again, the quiz isn't due till next week. You might ask, can I take it this week if I want to? You definitely can if you want to work ahead. I'll definitely let you do that. If you want to just get it out of the way. So that's a real quick synopsis of this week. Modules from the notes to the in-class exercise to the take-home, digital photography terms. After this live session, you can watch the second podcast at your own leisure. Let me see here the length of this. 40 minutes, 40 minutes total. And I start out with some more apps to suggested apps that I think I gave you guys some last week, all the way through the discussion on ISO, the discussion on the different um, cheat sheet cards for success on camera settings, all the way through to the even cover again the digital photography terms and take home. So, questions on week 4? Anybody? Everybody understand what you're supposed to do this week? Great. Well, if you could just say bye on the way out, that would be awesome. And then I'll use that as a trigger to just type in the chat here, bye. That'd be awesome. Everybody could do that, or see ya, or whatever you want to put in there. As long as, whatever you want to put in there is great. That way I know that you've understood everything. And then I'll go ahead and close down the live chat once I see everybody uh, say bye on the chat and exit the chat room. Sound good? Comment on the pics in the label of the upload in whatever photo service you're using. You should be able to label those photos, and so that's where you want to put it at, is in the label or the title of the photo or the name of the photo, whichever service you're using. All of them allow you to title it or label it or comment on it. Even a comment field, if you're using one that doesn't have label or title, you might be able to put it in the comment field of that picture. Sound good? Great. Hope that answered your question. Yeah, below each photo is fine, Jacob. Or the caption of a photo, or the label of a photo, or the title of a photo. Whichever one you want to do, doesn't matter as long as I can see it. And once I see everybody say bye, if you have a question as you're going out on the chat, definitely ask it. I don't mind answering any question. That's why I'm doing the live chat, is to answer any pertinent questions that you might have about this week. It's up to you. What does it matter what kind of photo you take, or is it up to you? It's up to you. That's fine. Yep. Good question, Brittany. Yep. Definitely up to you. The main thing is that you have the 3 ISO settings per photo setting. That's all I care about. Does that answer your question? Great. I'm glad it helped. If you have any other questions, you can definitely post them on the way out. Otherwise, make sure everybody stays safe in the road, and do not travel if you don't have to. Yeah, those still watching the podcast, if you could um, log into the chat and say bye, that'd be awesome. Otherwise, here in about a minute, I'm going to exit the live chat or the live session. That would be great. All right. Well, that concludes week 4. Web 225. Be safe outside. I will see everybody next week, and let's have a great week.